And I already think she's confused about this go-to meeting based off talking to her earlier. So maybe I'll just go ahead
Okay.
and, if that's the case, if she doesn't get on, I'm just going to go ahead and call her and just do it over the phone, I think.
Okay, do it over the phone if you have to and get it over with. Give her synopsis and tell her I'll mail you the deck and send her that overview.
Uh, we were just talking about it today. The big problem with the deck still is, in cases such as this Hawaiian person who's seeing, maybe a click tail and a couple other even a couple recording thinking, oh, I know all about this technology. And then once I explain, he understands very clearly. But it just, I really wonder if we need to put that analogy I wrote out to Dell, if that'd be a better explanation. Because, yes, someone very technical will understand based off how we do it. But, I mean, he understood once it's brought up, but it's difficult. This is the point that needs to be understood, so.
Okay.
We actually have another request for a meeting with Allstate through someone else, but both of their titles are going to be broad. The only way I see this going is her forwarding us to the analytics people like the other.
Okay,
So
from the same place?
Allstate, in Chicago too.
In Chicago, okay. What's
I mean,
the
I'm
other
sure
guy's name?
Female, it's in high rise, female media director.
Okay. This one is what, marketing director?
She says her title is e-business manager organic search.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Allstate is only auto or also life?
What's that?
Is Allstate only auto or also life?
No, everything. Home, auto, life, property, whatever. But maybe auto is, let me look it up here.
Are you there?
Yes, I am there. Yep.
Just
Okay, I was looking. I just put myself on silent because of the phone. They are trying to call me on the other line. That my mom's taking it. Okay. So they have life retirement, which means annuities, retirement savings, supplemental health insurance, auto insurance, of course, property insurance, customer care. I know they have home also. And, yeah.
Do you think it's worth trying with her using the deck and going step by step based off this and then showing links?
Yeah, try it.
I don't see this
yeah,
being a very. I don't see this being a very, not one of the top 50% meetings we have based on personnel. So I might as well try it.
Yeah. Go start with the deck. Start with the deck and go show a couple of things, depending on. But ask her first, her experience, what she's looking for, etc., what she's using.
I mean, I read, to be honest, it reminds me a lot of Raquel Shuisma, Raquel whatever, where on paper it looks, on paper it looks amazing, but I'm just skeptical even just based off talking for 5 minutes. So, you know what I mean? Looks like, oh, this should be a worldwide expert on all these analytics things, but probably just knows how to write.
No, I know. I know.
Hi guys, this is Saima from Allstate.
Hi, Saima. This is Inad and Patrick from UPCO. How are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Sorry about the confusion earlier.
And this is Ainat from UPGO too.
Oh, okay. Hello.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I mean, our schedule, we had a couple-hour gap at this time anyway, so it works out for both parties.
Oh, great. Okay. So I am downloading the GoToMeeting. I should be able to. Are you going to share your desktop? Do I
Yeah,
need to?
I'm going to be sharing
Okay.
my desktop, so we can chat
Okay.
until it loads up. So,
Okay, cool.
where are you at, Sima? In Chicago? Is that right?
Yeah, close to Chicago. It's a suburb called Northbrook. It's a northwestern suburb.
No, I'm very familiar. I grew up in the Midwest. Inad's actually in Michigan right now, so we're pretty familiar with Chicago. So,
Oh, cool.
yeah, very familiar with the area. So,
Oh, nice. Okay, so I can see your desktop now, Patrick.
okay, great. First off, if you wouldn't mind, Sima, if you could outline what your role is. You know, I did look up your official posted resume. I know quite a few details about your company, but if you could relate your role, particularly in correlation to the website of Allstate.
Uh-huh. Okay, sure. So I manage the organic search strategy for allstate.com and, all our web properties, subdomains, also local presence for our agents. I'm involved with organic search optimization for that as well. I work really closely with the content team and the social team. And I think that's pretty much it.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. Let me ask you, how involved are is your organic search team involved with the analytics directly in your department, or are those separated?
Yes. So we kind of influence. We have an analytics team. We work with Omniture. So we've got an in-house analytics team that takes care of the whole enterprise. But we work really closely with them. We have a dedicated team member. We work with them. We work with them for creating attribution. We tell them what kinds of reports and insights we need. We have our own dashboard. I'm pretty familiar with Google Analytics and Omniture myself. So yeah, we work pretty closely with the analytics team.
Great. Yeah, I just wanted to verify. A lot of organizations sometimes it's kind of obviously it should all be correlated when it comes down to understanding, the trends to actually enter the website. But a lot of companies have it separated, so I just like to make sure.
Yep. No, ours is pretty integrated.
What about are you guys using any particular competitive intelligence technologies such as Compete, Quantcast, anything along those lines?
Yes. So we used to have ComScore, and we recently moved to Compete.
Okay, and is that, I would assume that's all focused on, is that more on PPC spine directly or basically organic and PPC?
No, a lot of it is, yes, a lot of it is PPC. Organic is really minimal, but you're right, most of it is PPC, most of it is really within our conversion funnel, so pretty close to the actual quote tool, very close to the purchase funnel. A lot of the insights that we get from them are beyond the login for competitors and for us.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, I just wanted to see to introduce us on our end. We have a couple of integrated technologies that correlate to both the advanced analytics. So I guess similar to an Omniture as well as similar to a Compete. So I just always like to make sure that it's relevant to give an overview of both. So.
Sure. Yeah.
No problem. So on that note, Sima, to preface, UPGO, we're a digital marketing intelligence company, and once again, we have two primary assets correlated to analytics and competitive intelligence. So this is all, what we're going to be doing today is just a 15-minute capabilities overview, very, just straightforward discussion, and from there at the end, please feel free to interrupt me with any questions, and we can see relevant stuff by the time we finish. So.
Okay.
So my opening line here, UPGO invented the first technology that captures the entire online web experience, web and mobile. I'm going to go ahead and elaborate on that statement as a starting point because when it comes to analytics and capabilities, a lot of it blends in with how people promote themselves. So our big differentiator here is, using an Omniture Google Analytics. By default, they're creating data records every time a page transition or a action on the page is loaded. So for instance, they're creating what our big differentiator here is if I'm sorry, you see my screen? Do you see your website?
Yes.
If I write on the, I don't know what I meant. Oh, that's it. My mouse isn't working in this end. But if I'm on an entry and I write, my name is Patrick, I press delete, and I write Bob. We're storing each of the individual keystrokes as an individual searchable data point with a time recording what happens. We're doing this for every action on a website. So this includes mouse movement, hesitation, selection of any element, and also, so the big difference here is in this case you'd be able to get typing speed, hesitation, accuracy of the actual content on each individual form on your site. So
this is more like click track rather than event or submission page.
Well, we also have event traffic and all of the submits. All of the action are stored within one data source. The difference here is it's integrated with all of these subtle behavioral movements that currently no tools have the capability to go deeper into, for instance, typing speed measurement. So the usual objective here is to take a look on your conversion process, and we can come up with custom analytics coming down to purchasing confidence based off, movement and key entry. And this is all on top of traditional analytics because we're storing records for page analysis, session analysis, and everything on a macro basis as well.
Right.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, yeah. That's
so, and I'll give you a practical use case. We can't give client information, but for insurance company, a very practical use case here, usually we bring up first capability, is if you have a claims process, and let's say you wanted to add our microscope, take a closer look at your claims process. You would be able to create a trigger or monitor if someone wrote, for instance, I want to file a claim because my dog died. They press delete before their final entry. You would be able to create triggers and understand this information in the pre-submit phase as well. And this is all done non-intrusively by actually storing everything that happens as opposed to loading anything on the customer's end. So that's just a practical use case of deriving value from extra storage.
Interesting.
So the other side of this coin is we're storing an individual action for, on average, it's 1,000 times as much information as the Omniture Google Analytics. The other side of this coin is we're also able to recreate everything that happens from a video format. So on every analytic within our dashboard, you can click play, and if regardless if you're looking at a broad segment or an individual segment, you're able to play exactly what happened from your client's end. So, of course, the point of this is to discover nonverbal cues and inhibitors and to take a look usually once you're looking at a conversion funnel or process, a lot of times the answers aren't apparent, especially when you're looking at scenarios that have 98% success. So the point is you can always click directly and see exactly what happened.
Patrick, does this have any privacy issues, or do you need opt-in or disclosure?
No, because we would need privacy if we were installing anything on the local user's computer. But because all we're doing is you're already storing the information we're creating in a local cookie. We're just kind of arranging it in a different way. So legally, the only issues we have selective recording. Legally, we're not allowed to store passwords or financial information, actual credit card data. And aside from that, any company, they are liable to say, if you have a Social Security on a form, you let us know beforehand before we install. But the capability
Yeah, because we have very, very strict FINRA regulations. So I'm not sure. Any kind of personal information would be that would be a huge issue for us.
Yeah, definitely. I'll tell you, we do conform. All of the standards per industry. We have quite a few clients in medical and banking, so the security protocols when it comes to data security and infrastructure, that's definitely a must. But usually you do not have to we do have a couple clients who do, but you don't need to make broad-based changes on your privacy disclosure based on the format we're using. But of course, that's always a case-by-case for your company depending on, use case. So.
Sure. Okay.
No problem. So this example here, what I'm going to be showing here is, everyone these days, mobile matters a lot more than non because we don't have the answers yet. We're all still in discovery mode, understanding how to monetize, as well as understanding, what's the value of a page visit from a mobile phone versus normal. So What this example is, when we say we're able to store and create the whole online experience, this example is showing the depth that we go into mobile. So what I'm going to be showing here is actual finger movement, as if, if someone's on allstate.com and using their fingers to engage your site and navigate, they might use a different finger to actually redirect to a link. So what you're going to be seeing is the actual recreation from a visual perspective. And as a reminder, we're also storing all this as well to get macro trends such what's the average finger engagement time, when someone comes from this site. So just to preface what's happening here. So.
Wow.
And then the last point you're going to see in a second, of course, is, when we say complete mobile, we're factoring in zooms, orientations, all of this different data. So a lot of enterprises, if they might not be ready to, completely use our software for their entire site, because to be honest, Omniture is quite a long build. Build time, usually it's a transition period. A lot of enterprises will want to begin with only mobile, or want to begin with a particular particular segment of their site where we wouldn't conflict whatsoever from a scripting perspective. So,
okay.
On this note,
now this would work with if we had responsive design. It would still work because it would probably detect the device.
Absolutely. I don't know if you're familiar with the term viewport.
Yeah.
So we are detecting the viewport to be able to, of course, respond to responsive design. So.
Okay.
Any more questions, or can I keep moving on?
Yeah, no, go right ahead.
Okay. And let me ask you, Sam, do you have a hard stop at, what time is it on your, do you have a hard stop at the top of the hour to know if I...
At 4, yes. At 4 I do, yep.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, I was going to see if this is going to be a very top-level view to mention again. You mentioned you have quite a familiarity with analytics, so I'm just going to show you a couple basic capabilities. What I'm not going to have time to show you is the aggregation and reporting type modules, just to let you know. So,
before you show me much ahead, I had a quick question. Now, do you also have services other than the tool? Would you have your analysis experts, your analysts, kind of decode everything and provide a summary or actionable recommendations or glean insights and share those? Or would it just be the tool that we get?
No, absolutely. 80% of any company that works for us, particularly during the pilot phase, we're going to provide our own insight and create customizable metrics. I probably shouldn't have made this form so clear, but this example here was for a bank. We had to come up with a fake scenario to outline it, but where we went into their deep metrics and were able to calculate the confidence in their financial transactions. And this is all, the truth of it is it's all case by case per company for what your highest conversion. So absolutely, that's a part, and I will say that we definitely would recommend that on that end. So.
Okay, good.
No problem. Aside from that, when I talked about...
And to answer, let me address Simon's question also. To answer your question directly, yes, we do as an additional service, usually that we offer it to company to take care, for example, of the, like you said, the reporting, analysis, and interpretation, etc., and help you all the way, of course. Not everyone would want that, but if any kind, and we do have few customers who requested that, and we are providing that to them at the frequency that is pertinent to their business. Thank you.
Okay.
No problem.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because knowing our culture, all of this data is going to be pretty meaningless unless there was somebody, because we wouldn't have anyone dedicated to, operating it and then gleaning stuff out of it. So unless we had some sort of analysis coming from the vendor, this would not be super useful for us.
That's the case in most cases. It's hard to justify internally why should we use something and allocate more resources until we can prove added value. So that's usually why we said the pilot scenario, where in that case a pilot, we have a default amount of servicing hours provided where the liability is on us to show you here's what you couldn't have detected, and it's a lot easier when we're not talking general. So.
Cool.
All right, so I'm going to wrap this up pretty quick to show the other end of our coin, which is probably more relevant to what you do. So I'll just let you know we have usability-wise, we have quite a few different views integrated. It's all set up to be very intuitive. We're taking screenshots of every website you see to supplement any actual link names instead. And what I'm going to be showing you here in this next view is just an example of the depth we go into each user on your site. This is a customer experience view. So if you select any individual visitor on your site, you can see all of their past sessions and information linked from one view, where you could scan forward and back, watch exactly what they did, and choose whatever are the most important KPIs for your company to supplement what you see. So.
Oh, this is interesting. And you can do this across subdomains as well?
Yes.
If the same customer, so the customer would be tracked if they came from the blog to our main website or went to an agent page.
Correct. Yes, absolutely. All that is, I mean, the important thing is all of our technology is built in-house. We don't rely on any third party, you know, so our flexibility is significantly stronger than most of our rival companies. To be honest, the Omniture, you know, they have about 6 degrees of separation between the developers and the initial programmers. You know, they've been purchased since then. All their executives are gone. So in our case, we are still, you know, we are very flexible for any kind of customization and integration with any default module. So, but yeah, by default, all of it's core. So aside from that, I'll mention the conversion funnel as the last example because you had mentioned. The best use of this on a macro level basis is traditionally if you're taking a look at a conversion funnel, let's say, you're looking at your website and you create a funnel to say homepage to enter zip code. Usually you'll say, okay, I see that these amount of people are abandoning my funnel, right? So it's great. These people are abandoning. You still have to take the step back and figure out why. In our case, all of this is directly linked to the videos. So particularly for circumstances in your case where the percentage might be 98% completion, but everyone you're losing is going to be high value in that case. You know, someone who almost completed the process, you can click on their individual video, and in addition to detecting, you know, issues with responsive design, etc., you would also be able to detect on-page errors. In a lot of cases on our end, this example here is to show, you know, our marketers tell us, hey, it's not our fault. Our tech guys say it's nothing on our end. We click play, and we know not to dock our marketing strategy based on a technical error on the page. So that's just an example of practical use is doing this within conversion funnels, heat maps. I don't know. Are you familiar with heat maps?
Yes.
So in a heat map, the same, you know, mentality. You see 20 clicks to the top right. Great. Where did they come from? Was it a responsive issue? In our case, it's all strategically linked to the sessions to answer the questions on those use cases. So that's just, you know, usual practical use more than digging around in, you know, millions of different sessions. So. So I'm going to make a 5-minute attempt to summarize our digital competitive intelligence now. Obviously, you have a lot of organic search background. You're aware, you know, it's a liability of any website to get indexed within Google. If you have a new website, I create xyz.com, it might take a few weeks because I have to get pinged by them. I need to get stored. So the long story short of this discussion is Google has approximately 1/5 of total websites in their index or searchable index. Our company has approximately 5 times as many websites in one large database. We created a more aggressive storage algorithm where every time a domain is registered, we're storing the source code and information, and we have it in one large database that we deliver to enterprises to customize the competitive intelligence they're looking for. So to elaborate in this quick example, I know we're close to a hard stop, is in your case, if you wanted to highlight 3 key competitors, we would be monitoring their traffic rank using Alexa, ComScore, a few other third-party sources that have their own ways of, you know, getting a decent estimate of traffic. So we would be storing the traffic changes every month on your end from your competitors. We'd also be storing, here's the difference in social media likes, LinkedIn, I forget what they're called, Twitter tweets, all of this information to say, hey, my competitor had a 40% increase in traffic, and he had 50 million more Facebook likes. Exactly. So, you know, it's not always going to give the answer, but it gives automated awareness to not have to dig. So this is all based on what's in a source code.
Okay.
We have quite a few dashboards in here too, but here's a de facto example. The big advantage here is, your company can customize any algorithm. If you want to say, I want to search all of the people using the word insurance on the internet who've been around 5 years, who are using this technology, you can do those custom searches in our database and get that information. So usually you'll want to benchmark a few default filters, and aside from that, depending on how technical or marketing end it's correlated, that's, the objective here on our end. And this is all from the same dashboard as the analytics as well, because obviously a lot of times those insights are correlated when it comes down to pattern analysis, discovery, etc.
Nice.
Do you have any questions, Seema?
No, I think this is good. Just one quick question. I think I already know the answer, but is there a way to get in backlink data within this dashboard?
Yes.
We've got social, we've got traffic, if we can get backlinks and see the correlation.
Correct. Yeah, this can be completely customized to anything stored within a source code.
Okay.
Yeah, I suppose I know you have a hard stop in a few minutes. My conclusion usually here is just asking, what the next best step would be if there's interest, to either take a deeper dig. We could dig much deeper into analytics portions, DCI, over a presentation, or, of course, a lot of times the next step is to internally forward to the appropriate personnel.
Right.
What's your thoughts based on our discussion?
My thoughts are that at this point, some of your features are really interesting. I may be interested, but I think we already have most of what you're talking about. We're getting it all from different places and then compiling it into a dashboard. But at this point, I think the only piece missing is this competitive intelligence that you're showing that I don't have handy. And we pull it from different sources, but I think this would be interesting to have. But other than that, the bigger use of the tool would not be, at this point, would probably not be of much interest because we're pretty well integrated with Omniture. We have local monitoring, we've got Bright Edge, so we've got a whole suite of tools that help us glean all these kinds of insights. But it's a good introduction, and if you send me some stuff, I can share it with the team and see if there's any additional interest.
No problem. Yeah, that's very fair. Like I said, in almost every case, larger enterprises, first step would never be to replace. So I understand if so the takeaway is the analytics you don't see use in the short term. The competitive intelligence maybe once you receive the details. Okay.
Right. You're exactly right. Yes.
Okay. No problem. Yeah, I can definitely forward that information. Would you like like them separated in that case, separate documents, or combined? Both, because these are completely separatable. These are all separate modules, so you definitely don't need to use analytics, one or the other. So.
Okay. So yeah, that was going to be my question. That would we need to use your analytics to pull these? Okay. So I think separate and combined would be a good way of pitching it to the team.
Okay. No problem. And yeah, I also shouldn't have to. The analytics obviously requires installation on your end. The competitive intelligence is all a third-party source on ours, so obviously no conflicts at all. You just have access to search information and have default charts created.
Perfect. Perfect. Now, one quick question. I know I've only got 5 minutes. Do you have anything on user profiles or personas or?
To answer, we have a personas, meaning in regards to if someone creates certain. Are you talking about syncing demographics?
No, I'm talking about yeah. It could just be demographics too, or sites this particular person visited before visiting our site, sites that they visited after visiting our site, those kinds of insights.
Yeah.
Interests of those people.
So long story short, yes. We have quite a few other modules I hadn't shown there. A lot of targeting, segmentation, using third-party sources to compare what's happening on your site compared to, because most of those...
That would be of interest to us.
Okay. Yeah.